Amimesho kuhepa shinene kumapetanga epuliro noho meridhu na washinene opomba pumapedu no kuhingiro mukwetu kokusha epuli ondoro kusho muhoko we waro mwingi mbutapi okudhana indishi badano kutaiyo bando ishipo ondishi bali rukuru ni indishi bali rukuru ko mulungu rubede omyeko wetu amimbume ingirie pona shobamba nderu kabyali mu mambo pupeta pika abishangwa tupura tene mo nene betu kokusha o batawanda omuhoko watawanda okuda ko akti na shinene imbo bamba nderu okuda ko ke yobiri mwena mathere hambo ndatu no mirongo muyuna hambo umwe imbapu ba de python baraya wakahimemwa shinene okuba utira okututerekare ngo makurungi nami bino mulumendu ongundu anje omunene ngwe njikuritha moru kapita wedendo njikuritha mwini wakwaterwe meyo biri mwena mathere hambo ndatu no mirongo hambo mbali na hambo mbali wekuta meyo biri mwe no mathere mu byuno mirongo hambo mbali na hambo ndatu oshiperendo cheno hombina shomba mapie muraithire.
He also understands the situation just like the other person, that the question is not broad enough because him is from what his grandparents or grandpeople told him, said the clan was big because he's coming from the clan. The clan was very large and they lost a lot of people, and he's having his information he got from his uncle who was born in 1876, 77, who passed on in 1978. So that is the person. And now Romurumendungo. I want you to have a wrong name too. Wilfried Munjwa Mwamina.
Herero pindike opoku lambai onje mbayum. Yo bayum bo argumento wanene mbali poka. Kana marwanu nuhe. Como mulwendo mutaku meherero ngwakuria mwa Herero. Ka mulwendo shirera ka.
Wanje wakamu.
No musha we ka. Okumba uyonje mbabe obitabimu. Aberumo kahanja. Abewonjo abeamo. Mo chongira isinga bawonja mo.
Karasero kuyama karasero mumara.
Abeamo ka abe kupira mo ndo nganke abeamo kankumewe. Abeamba mo ka
swanju.
Mo imbapo swanju pa ka swanju mo. Tukalireka pakalukisa asa abepundu mo kanjira. Ya mo kanjira aberupu pakasira tateka sayimu. Nubakwao. Katiri walumendo wengi popatira tateka sayimu. Katiri walumendo wetu bamunga wakawali popatira. Kadiri molwi wakawali. Watobi tambia bili abide perembo mo kanjira.
So during that fight, then the people started now saying that these people were killed innocent while they have been shot down on the barrel of the gun in Okahancha. So therefore, they should die fighting. Started by Kanamaro Nunuhe, a mixed Herero and Damara, and another Wanja and Kandiri Kirira, Shireras, and all those. Then they started that fight in Okahancha That's where the people started moving from. And Wanjwa and Kashahingi was one of those people that have been starting the fight in Okanja. His surname was Maikopo. And then they fled towards Ovitoto. There in Okarathero Mumara, this side during to Ondwedongange, towards Okathuanjua, they went through Ochongombe and then they up to Okanjira. It's that fight started like that. And the time that they came in Okanjira, it was almost on the 9th of April, 1904. It's where those people that has been fighting during that time, one of them was Kachaimo, the grandfather of him. So he fought there, he died there also, just over the river there. I could have shown you also where he died. So, and the Kawaris that died during that incident, the fight in Okanjira, the battle at Okanjira. So those where we are coming to the battle of Okanjira.
No, Mama Pene, Shade Paisa, Oina Naihe, no imbo anene, Voina, Naihe, Batiramo, Upeluna, Nakalfelta, Upuba, Batirambo, Ngomaji, Mamango Munengo, Sharino, Promo Naimwe, Oshamuno, Oina no Hishima Beahua. Asewo Eric.
Yeah, my grandmother, whose name is Pene, saw his mother and father being killed by the Germans when she was barely 11 years old. And it was a brutal killing, and she was left alone as a result of that.
Ngisirikari nguya jimbo yao jimawe taura mokahanja. Jimbo ya umbo sondaha kereka. Jewa ndumba we mbae tere jimbo njowe endo shoba honge na ngoli henyoba frondati. Umbo sonda. Etaura kupita ku yekuhanga ukamo kanjirano. Nobi ombo no. Nima bekea mo biko kolere no have piuka bandu andiema njembo yaliro ntiu.
Some of this interrogation was that she was used to tell about this genocide war. And during that battle, she told them that the very first engagement with the Germans was on Sunday morning, 12 January, in Okahanja. That's where it started. It was on Sunday, while the others are busy with church. The soldiers and everybody was pretending to be a missionary, pretending to be a pastor and religion person, but it was just a shitting. They were all soldiers, and they pretended to be missionaries. And they fled from Okahanja towards the Ovitoto, throughout Okanjira. They went even to Oviwompo, and then to Ovikokorero. And whereby from Ovikokorero onwards, they splattered all over the family. And because by that time it was very, very hard now during the genocide war.
Ami, Omasele Karanga, Ovumbura, Juari Nombra, Wondatu, Gokomino, Gachinga, Tahalika, Nibako.
So,
Yalochi Karira, or Luciano Posiva Veduco, we have a Kaya Javel, the Poindrich, no Queen. Kusekela chave yakwa ya ochave yolo no kusekela kuja wali wala unfa atala estala tupukei ese punto chico pata o haga a mí ya lo china yo hungi lo ponga cuando yo van negocio.
This was an everyday story. When men are sitting, they were telling their tales. They were telling how the Germans were shooting at them. Those who managed to kill them with nopkiris, they also were telling that I could manage to kill one with my nopkiri. And some were also telling that I saw them before the time, and when they realized I ran away. So these stories were told over and over, but then the story, for me to hear these stories, I was from 8 years until whatever age.
If I could have narrating on that, it's a very emotional. And I would like to say that my grandmother, born in 1876, have been here around. In 1904, our homestead was just behind this hill here on the other side. And during the battle at Okanchira is where the first ever resistance war started. It didn't start in Waterberg, as you are saying, but from the 12th of January 1904, it started with people in Okahanja where they have been chased out of the place because the German mercenaries and all the other German troops have been taking over Okahanja. And by force, they have been forced to come out and to come that way. If you are looking at this, they came, the Hereros were just moving towards that end that I'm showing you is Ochongombe. They came through here and they came up to this area within this triangle that you are seeing. This Okanjira mountain, the other mountain that they called it Ludwig's Beck, and the other one, the Signal Hill, that they called it a Signal Hill. So the other hill down there that you are seeing there, it's where Ochisadu is, where the German missionary were stationed. And that is the triangle here between where the battle took place. So, to say about my family, my grandmother have been among those people that have got a survival during that brutal killings that has been done by the Germans on that time. It was on the 9th of April, 1904, when that battle took place here. So when you are coming here around, you must walk light on your feet because you are entering a battlefield. And I am sure it's a little bit emotional that our grandfathers and mothers' blood were shattered over here. And that's why we must feel together and have the feeling of what happened during that day in Oka.
Okukotoro ulide mburuka wao oku konjiso mahongero ukotora mwandu oku konjiso ku cancel okulide mbisa oku konjiso ku cancel chimuno mulimo miniko kana chishwado no kulidisa o menaro kusha obahero apanjara okuyata kwa ndalire mehi apanjara ngaro yao yondu vakumwa kushongwa isheri bombiriko Cameroon na beriko South Africa beriko Chawana beriko kehiro bando ishi ba mo escape.
And this the genocide, really brutality. What is it? It even damages our mind, and we need to restore our own personal even mind and as a human being. And then, if you could think of having a Herero speaking person living in Cameroon, in South Africa, wherever it was scattered because of the genocide. And
for them even to be cancelled, to forget even the genocide thing. That might help even. So if they could...
Ezuka chinene.
Uh,
Menalo kusha. Abantu ishi badepo ba Herero. Nga taro ba Herero taro bantu bengino. Nga ndari munu yabi man. Bantu mboku depa. Ambano mwashiri obengino. Kuno de bandi ubali no mundu omunyo. Ubatolero ba Herero bengi okutwa kurumbolombe perando rwambaye. Ombunga indo bantu mayo mirongo hambo bali batwango. Abeka tombe pera uli. Panga chiba u.
No, Hereros were many. Hereros were many that the German killed until they are human. Until they felt, these people are just many. We are killing and they are not getting finished. So let's take them to the concentration camp so they can not die off our hands, but can die off the situation there. That's why they took them to those areas like Swakopmund and Murphy's Bay where it is cold, so that they can die off the cold there instead of on our hands, because we killed so many.
Bandu shima bebere mbako ka behe kwa gandu shimwe shiba shito ando murongo po mirongo ibali hamba beka pakwa mo shitoto shimo.
Why it is called, there's a word in Ochero, they don't say concentration camp, they say Orumbo Rwakashombondi, is like a camp of rotten things. And why it was called like that, because if somebody passed on, the bodies were first left there to collect until they become 10 or 20 before they are going to be buried in one mass grave. Because they could not take one body and bury is waste of time. Yeah. Okay. This, she happened to ask some questions, but then when she was asking about the other family members, her mother started to feel very bad, sorrowful, because she lost a brother and a sister whom they could not find anymore. So it was a bit sorrowful moments. She really didn't want to talk about this war because for them it was so difficult. It was a difficult situation. Therefore, for her to recall this, it was very difficult.
We were actually wondering how, and we were asking how they survived that harshness. And they told us that in the end, your body and your mind is used to the conditions, and it's tuned to a mode of survival. So, and that mode gives you courage to survive the next ordeal until you get through. So, and in the end also, they relied very much on their beliefs, and as traditional people, they have to fall back to their traditional beliefs and calling back their ancestors, the spirits of their ancestors, evoking them. And for those who were converted as Christians by the German missionaries, also the word of God get deeper into the people, as they also have now started to compare their story with, for instance, the upheavals of the time of Moses. Where they had when they were told by missionaries that people were dwelling 40 years in the desert. And for them, it was maybe a thing of 3-4 years through a desert to Botswana. And the thing that make it cruel to them is that they ran to a water hole. The first group that reached the water hole drink and collapsed, died. The next group that joined them find that the first group died already in the water. And then they sit there, they cannot drink the water. They are wondering, if I'm now too thirsty, if I drink water, am I going to die because I'm too thirsty? Or what is the trouble? Or is the water has poisoned? So they sit there, they couldn't drink the water, and some of them decided to die of thirst. So you find people perishing next to the water. You cannot drink the water. There are animals, corpse in the water, and people corpse also in the water. So they told us how when they ran out of food, others started to argue to cut flesh from the people to start eating, and others said, but we cannot do that. And that is how they start to rely on their beliefs and religions as to how they were challenged by these tribulations in which they were.
Ami bino mwiha mwatima omunene ohunga nongaro njeshitwa ko badene betupo banje obandoishi kabatule behindi nupege peka kawa bitobide ubite imba na ihanje mabe yangu kutieka wini wetu
kwambia ndele mboga. I'm hurt. I'm not feeling well. We lost families. We lost our dignity as people. We had wealth. And Germans are not Namibians. They are not from here. But when they came and even started the war, it was to take away which was ours, our land and our...
Mburaje marisha to na hiyo donde kurona wandu mbatire bwa numutwaye ko mahi tatu wango bisuta kuwo betungulire omahi no kutulandira lo farama no kutupo no bisemba mbabitu batere ibahanga uke.
His last word.
Ariyo kutungolo skole, ariyo kutunguliro Nazareto bombwa. Obingura mabisuta bibabe isame mabinguro beni hiwa kamuro hibaliyo hibaliyo bayingure. Kamuro mahiko bapo wakomba tiego mai.
His word, even to the Germans, even to any person who's having the government, the ruling right now, is the following. Having money in hands, I don't think we are going to do something with limited resource of money that we will be given. It won't make sense. So I rather took a stand of saying that the Germans should buy land because you cannot take any more by force. Buy land from those people that took the land by force. Buy land from them so that we can reconcile with them and give to those that lost land, not to give to those that are at their indigenous places where they have been before. So that is one. Or either going to an extent of building more schools for the kids to study, to do whatever they are doing in order to gain money for themselves so that they can make a survival. So building school will accommodate everyone, never mind which tribe, never mind who, but at least the people who have been suffering a lot will benefit from that. It's also projects that would be helping out in this. That is my words to all those. Even also resettling those people to bring them to a standard living. Even also giving them cattle to start with and starting up capital with projects that they might have to start with. And building clinics and hospitals and all those. It will benefit every Namibian. And that is his word to the government and to the Germans.
Ave kambura mobikena na barobandu batumbe bae no baungule bae nuna ndale shwa kondo kuimbo o mama na bende bekakalere mindambyo o beshiwa bi barobandu mbali no donga muri ondaza na pipo bandu mbabe kambula mu bikwae.
Ayo Herero. Herero bakambulire mehira ewa. Dashitwezu ewa. Bakambulire mongombe. Bakambulire modontu. Obina bakambulire. Bakambulire mo maruo. O barumendumbo otatembo maingiere. Mongombe yako ntule panda. Mbapo katiko lonzo ntumbali oya biwono ya ngombo. Sanjeberimbo. Nu ono shima byako kanjiro puba umbirwambo. Shabara. Tate shabara wawirambo. Nuimbyo onzonzo mbapo biwona ngombo hinakushiwa. Kehindo mbala kwa anake hine urikina ndai chuchenta nekusha. Hapo mbyo biwo bipi. Nto ngombo njimeshiwa na njitukonda njitukakonda. Nuimbo peni mbapo biwombo. Pepi hinakushiwa kusha pepi. Opupatira shabarambo. Opupatira shabarambo. Wawirambo uri ngoge. Popo. Venisha kupakati kondondo bali. Mbinya kujisha. Na wawirambo ngati kondondo.
Matushiwa kusha pepi mbona.
Okusha oshiba kambulire mowa womatuliro. Oshibari obanasho bayingona obatiti behina hina shibehita benyando matanga obina byao uli. Ya shima be umbwana o shima be tupukana o shibe ya abe ambo kienda o abe hunga mumunda amaru. Imbamba chanjochika kwa chie nao. Imbamba orukondorwa mama ingui tate hiyoro hanjeo babaso amokanjira. Ingui ihe hiyoro shawire mo mbo uliri kutanana uliri o hiyoro byarukankwe komunda wa shitwe. Omba aruka bueno onyo koshime pura kucha nambano mbo chimbi shina bahaneno ya hapo nu. Shiba aruka pweno kanjia ili nkumamba shimatwa kwa ngandaweka kwa twa pweno kaenunti wengande nkuro munashuo kabezunti wakukotwa. Hapo imba ehaha nakia nuimba balipwi ene shimwa mgu tate chambato onje mboku onje muyarura kumunda wa shitwe. Okusha tengu hiyoro watupukire pweno mutena warika pangwa. Moshi omukaendungu kapazengu aronge ingungurira. Iya. Ino kapangwa ulipwena hiyoro. Nu ingu kapangwa shima yumbu. Shima pose shima kia hididididi ngombo jojo shiwenene njio wana chebaka wadi kauli hapo hididididi. Hiyoro tupuka nangwari. Kwa umboba mukando anjo mukando mutiti. Mukando mutiti. Shima ungu. Owo kupita bepitire. No muten. Nabi. Shiba kakara hango. Shiba huwa. Tatajiro mulema nare mane. Aendepe no mukaenduwe. No mutena. Aendepe na mama. Inarufita kama tukamba baka matuka. No mukaenduwe. Aendepe na inatomi. Mukasha uha njoka na shokatiti. Eye mwaka na shokatiti. Bendo wakaendu. Shiba huwa wakahudirwa kokure. Kombanda mehindi o bakahura kege hindo rapa koro bambanderu. O beni mabesha. O shomando ngombo o ponju mukandu wakanguwa makenu haulongoro shwa mwalina ngombe. Kuka ashima beyabeki kukwatwa mbaeku ya kukwatwa nduesha maku opongwe yakahima mama asha opondoro yakahima. Kupa kwatiwa kuka. Mbana naiberi pwena ina kukane.
Popuri.
Na imbo arumendumbani. Mbana wali warumendumba owa kwa utimbo ya kuka. No imbo watatimba. Shibe ya mepako. Abe huwa. Shiba huwa. Iyoro kutoni watuna mukutipo babasi walipombanda. Mamo mepako kutono shirimbuha hiata kiungumana. Aiswa mukutiakuwa koka. Oja puma chikupile mamana. Ingwi ihea mungu alfita kama toka ngwe mumuna. O kutonwe walomu mandu
tupuka hanje nao vasiasana ko malu mukando emwese atupuka kwa tia lumbile waliko malokoko ywa malu akatuye ko malu na watupukisiwo okulambwa kwa mukando okushangu mamangwi nje nangu inafita nao hanje ina mama lumbile ina mama atowo shirubwahi ashi twara ko munda akusha twara ko munda wa usho ingu mamangwi akarape mpako opwa piruka mpa okusha mamangwi akarame mpako ihe ngu habalero kumumuna sha nambisa na nabi walila usmis akarame mpako mbo aku waromundo ishimo shiba kame pako ganda ngwa itateka kokere uno munyo obandu shiba nana shi na nganda be kukora kusha kako mundu uli podi imbo okusha mama nao kuto ku nana ku henana nguroba nao kutwala twa anje washi wadiro mukando shimbu mutimbu mako waye kamutinga kepanga njwandu mbo bani bobira lomba todo una bana no njojo vitio yo vike na jeme bisho opa kala kwenu movement wena ubalimwe mbashia tukukino shapo mkandu uyenda pi nguyenda akarata okushoshimbo kubeteza nabobelike hiyo muti bilumbu bako ando shibe ka balino ne balubinda ndi abihaka hano kungira kungira shandino ndo ndimo ko kandino chapurukuta okuya akita ulo shipande shombaze nokuya atupuka anje nambo muhoko wena mpabihemba anje namba nobeli mokatumba mo bilongo makombo nhanze mo munjereke mo ngombo mu okutupuka atupuka utukumba musha namba mehu hamibi inaku haika mo kutirika nyembo muhoko namba no yabe usho okuya yamoshi mo upembane ameko amahore ko kutara ko mkwaka mu upembane okusha mamosha karame pako kande murere yenene mama kaliro muherere mama nekachiri muherere kaparukaje oshirumbo ku paiso mutena wena rayuria okuhungira kwa sondate kushabi omukandungwi oshingundi ni mapanduko mwasho mu mukagono yuri anami meke hirwandu yi mekotoka tatembo pe hina kakotoka na kuja wakati na mujira po akachita mihina kushiwa ahakotoka okucho bandu ishimbo azondete mbali po alipo mundu ishimwa mundu ishingu ishike mutina mbanje ngu yoro na imbano wakara uli wakauto vyungu okuja ngu ushisha kamba mama hene chahene aingo kukumpame akaro mundu ishingwi hanje na mbaka na ndo sala mali za jo sama ndo pamba uja leo tumichomu hahu che kubala mba motu na mbano nkulo kande wali ne ekahoreka kuyanje mepako mama paka pandukira mepako mujuo shiru okupandukira mepako mwacho mukawa na shiru opo kuba kaunja je wa sondate mbanike nanje mbano balako oku ahida opua bemu ko kushara usimicha wakata opwe kuya ku mumendu we okuyamo muchihaye nena mbana njuri muchihaye nena nguhiyoro okusha muchihaye nena mapandukira mamangu kafuko no mwashi wengo mulandu na ulipana mwashi mulandu na wemu wapandukira muchihaye nena okukotoka kanjeye mabango kanjiroba tuleba kanjira opuba kotokera naomba kweno onyoko mbo bikotoke obikotoka mukanjira mama nao pa badekero itate uli atwadi we ero mancheke kulizo itate antakupaita takubiramo moshitwesu vaonjere naye
just talking about how from the maternal line the father was captured, taken to Falkland, went there within the surroundings when they were dwelling around there. They came over up to here in Chitwedu. The father was the original father, husband to their grandmother, was Inokanjira. So they fled this side to Gobabes, and from there they went down there in the area of Vetfley and those areas. It's where some of them have been born. The sisters, the other sisters, the younger sisters have been born there. And from there, the father from Falkland were going in that area around, dwelling around, finding out where are the rest of the family to rejoin with the family. And that's where they came down there in the area of Nosop and here in the area of Falkland, here around Vetfley, not Vetfley, but CAs. So at that area, it's where they started rejoining with the father, the husband itself. By that time, her mother was taken by a German man and got now a child. So from that, so she have been becoming pregnant and were waiting, and then they surround there, and every afternoon when they heard that the real husband is somewhere in that surroundings, then she went out as if she's looking for goats and all those, because by that time she was together with a German man who made her pregnant. So to a German woman, a girl who was the mother, their real mother now. So during that time, she went to rejoin with the men. All the time they went in the field, they sit down there and they were talking and chatting there in the dark. All of a sudden, it's where the German guy realized that where is this woman always staying too late hours there in the dark? And then he went there and looking for them, and they saw him there in the dark. It's where the father, now they reunited with the father, the one who was in Okanjira, Herero. And then he ran away from there. And then he sent a bullet to that man, and he was injured in the feet. And that's why he was walking like that, a little bit because he was injured. And from that, the mother went also wondering that they were having contacts. And from the house of this German guy, he could take some medicine and took there in the bush, because she was also looking for goats, after goats. And then she gave to the husband there, and that it's where he got healed with these wounds. And by then they move out, and the mother, the father, when the German guy was having a death in the family, he should go back to Germany. And by the time that he went to Germany, then he went and died there. He didn't come back. And that's why the husband came and reunited with the mother, with that baby girl who was Julia, then named Julia, from the German guy whose mother was Julia. And that is, yes. And that is when they met the sisters, my grandmothers, who went to that area, because they fled from Okanjira. They fled that area to Gobabe's area, where my sisters, my mother's sisters, were born there, also, and the other brothers, and also her brothers. So then they rejoined again. That's where they came back to Okanjira again, as she retaliated on that.
And Julia's mother, was she taken by force and forced to stay with the white men?
Yes. And then Julia's mother, the grandmother, was raped actually. She was captured and taken. The men ran away, and then she take the wife and became her wife in the house. That's Julia's mother, the grandmother, and that's where she got a white of a complexion girl, and who was Julia. So that is the mother to them.
And there are how many kids? How many kids, children did Julia have?
Obanashimba ba mama Julia usha bekulira bengapi?
Those who were left behind, basically, some also they died.
Yeah.
And now there was a loss of connection or contact between those who went to Botswana, South Africa, and those who remained here. Yeah. So that's basically what I know.
Okay. Okay.
But some, they went to, how can I put it? They went to the Western countries trying to escape. But now they ended up even, we don't even know them up to now.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just told there was this son of who from our family, but up to now we don't know where about. Maybe they became those
Citizens.
citizens, and we have no connections.
Okay.
Obambandero bengi mubali otate mubali obambandero no bantu baza morukondo lwambandero mu mulamba wa Kihaine nambwi okuyenda kuhamakale kukarwa kanjwa ambandero no hobe no dongore no kuja bato bandoishi ukuja bakarwa kinene uliri ambandero bengi no o mobitambi ya shunda ongandaji ya kawami omuyadho kuyenda onaulira ko mundu ahiro bampa.
Okay. No, they were banderus. Because by then they had also the hatred that these people are the ones that killed us. So we will go and fight them with the other people so that we can also defeat them because they were the ones that killed us. So they moved from Oshihanena and go and fought with the others.
Kabena ete obanashi kabena njondu owo bana berishimunami. Kosi okushabi ete nandaira mishimba tumba. Misho ushangunde tulimo hura uliondi katiaka na indeha. Okusha obonjo anda kumabe ningenjo njisiro na kutusuta. Obanashi wandu shimnetenu. Maranga be kite po shinashu yete tukano hange. Madino imbo muna usha oberimbo na wana shimbo ngai no berimbo no.
Okay, so what a statement. We really I don't have any hard feelings about the German children or the great grandchildren of the Germans. But it's like me. I'm feeling that my children needs to be somewhere. They must ask for an apology and reparate so that we can have, because otherwise if they don't do this, I'm going to feel like, they are feeling like their great parents if they don't do this. So if they do apologize and they give us what we deserve, this chapter will be closed peacefully.
No, vitachunda chibyalua omulume ndungu kauparura lambe chimaho ngombe doba Herero abehe parambe kujenjo tuhingiriku.
What I heard is when Lambe was shooting the Herero animals, Kamberipa, what is it? Kauparura Kamberipa was organized by Kahimemwa to call Lambe so that they can talk. Then and then Kauparura shot Lambe. Then when this Kauparura Kamberipa shot Lambe is when the war of 1896 started.
Oshak elenda polubedendo amimbekeru muno mwini. numo lubedendo mehe etembutu no dombanda no donjesi olubedendo shanje obandu oberi mutundu kabe na dombanda o chitu eto mo osinote yokereka etu oisha mirongo bibali na imwe twakashitira kokakobero okusha othonda hashitwa pato sinote nji atukashitira ondinsapo po Shaka Island o amishinashi mweshi chenjiririsa mumadhuvyalisiro womuhonge ombishopa yetu njaheruka kochiungula omuhonge kameta oshasha mombepera mutundu mombepera no nyota no njala mo pokakoberwa hingo o bandu kubathirirwe
As a church person, she have heard about her grandmother, the Shaka Island, the story from her Shaka Island, how they were a prisoner of war. And she herself, Sophia Kakare, she decided, because she's a church person, and they have from the Lutheran Church, they call it the end of the 21 Synod, they decided to go to Luterates, and she went to see that place. From the story from her grandmother, what she had went through, she realized that how on earth, although she had clothes and everything, how someone can survive that harsh environment, the cold and everything. And she started to cry. And for her, it was a moving story from her own grandmother. When you were told and you see the place where she had been living, then you can imagine what was it. And you can think of someone who survived that environment, and a woman. And through all the rape they went through till they come back. So, and they survive. And she ended up, maybe she will tell us later how.
Andumba baro bengi. Nuno kona kukashabe homba mberi mwakamba. Tinga twa ingimba twi polombo windimba. Twine jara wana. Majengo wanjengo.
Mbe mumuno.
Singa achanga tusesure ne singa tuwe mununo. Ogusesure. Ogunya ndana twina banone. Mekara bero ora musesura tutara. O inde tuparo mudalizi wan. O kiaro inde tuparo mudalizi.
Obeshuhena kienda ndakuma tuhita fangero kienda ngona. Fangero kienda ngo.
Okusha kuno bara kushibisi bare chitapi. Inakwango kurobire.
Yeah. No, I cannot give you the number, but there were many people. Even if to prove that, if we can go to Olombudo Vindimba, you just dig a bit, his bones that are coming out. So people, if here we can dig bones all around the area, imagine how many people were there. So this is what happened. There were many people. So I cannot give numbers, unfortunately, because I might lie, even give less or give more than the reality.
And by that time, when she went, before the war started, it was a huge family. Hereros used to have over 1,000 cattle. It was a huge, in Matako area. By that time, it was not like where we have these fences today where the German, they took over. And when she ran away, she left nothing, and she came back with nothing. And she started to have, and she beat 4 children, where she tried to graze them without nothing. But lucky enough, she managed it. Today, some of them, their grandchildren are today big teachers and whatever.
Amojaka mamuni binomba pichira molo doro ni membra yito skole mama mwashe mama munene akwato mwajamba kwata mama kaino shimano ka hongere gena skole baya mije yito skole mama yale tiro o kaskipa no kamburuko ba o repe ye top skole ya top skole ikiwa yachwa piti moskole njo lara njo no nganda itopo matawera kwa top score ko oya but how kodo botia mbo sinari mo shuru yari amemeta uchitinda na ukiro ke upo wanji ke upo mo banji na ya wana imba tito kawa na mu daga mo kesha top score kura ya no score ko ko trawo ni ne bana na mamba na ukiro mu wanji banji no wanji.
And even where he grown up, even him, he had his grandma, the daughter of the grand-grandma of the grandma, his own ma. They were also poor. They used to, when he used to wear dresses, they used to needle it themselves, like from the empty bag of this maize meal, top score. So she used to wear that one. But he had something in mind. He said, I want to bring changes in my life. I don't care what I'm wearing. From the poor, one day maybe I will have something. And even the little girls in the street or the other boys, his peers, wanted just giving him a name and call him top score. And even when his trousers is broken, the mother put it another top score on it. And he ended up, he forced himself, Marama himself, he forced himself to finish his school. And he became what he is. And what he is doing is trying to change the lives of the others through what he went through and part of his family.
Pena mbawe shitina nu kashinene kawengi mbawe kamburo wakaendu aisapo mukaendu we aliyo mumungurire aliyo mumukohere ya muhabarizo bikuria hatono po anjewa mbane waisapo mukaendu we hindi shauno kudepo murumendu oku kanaba kupire ulipo tungi kanaba kupire uli anjo baenda no bino akaendu bambi bebesa ngina usha kanaba kupire ka pues si obengi no homba kara no bana shemba kwata shibabiaru ke na banjo bina ko bana shabe podo o dongombe no bikwa na hamba beta no kabiaru ka ndanda bahurire ko baherero shibabashitire nao mutu kakano haje kabandu kabirumbo kabandu isho bengi mutu bebali betatu lili iga karo bando bengi.
It was not usual. It's not all of them who treated the royal ladies nice, who gave them things they wanted, but they took them in their houses. They were like servants, 7 in kitchen, 7 in bed also. It's not many of them who treated the royal ladies well, but when they left to go back to Germany, they happened to give some cows and clothes and what have you to the children. They got from these royal ladies, but it's 2 or 3 people perhaps who were good to the royal ladies.
People were kept in the camps? Some even without their wives? Sometimes those that had children not with their children or their husbands? Meals they could not eat proper food. No proper medication. Also heard that a lot of their animals and property were taken as they were taken to the concentration camp.
Ami como munibishavi gabe tupe hiretu wandoishi gabe tupe hiretu ndindi bakwana ndindi tuheshi hupundo gabe tupe hiretu na kudama kupeno vina peno shike na peno vikwa vinambika pena vina bima bingula gabe tupe hiretu tuliro bandu no na pano bandu twa moru banganjara longo betu kana puderia ondana tukana puderia bana kibetu badoro tukana puenyandera nyandera pya ndi kumana mndu makanyanda macha makanyanda mwe mukuti mai kundi yakandi kumana gabe tupe hiretu tematu wange hiretu lili ndindi betu papoka handi gabe tupe hiretu tutwamo vinatu vinyotoroke tukaeme hiretu abe tulandise hiretu namba ndibe habe tupe hiretu ando ichi gabe tupe hiretu lili kara ulili betu hura ulili gabe kotole hiretu kweto veni ulili Embolondo ndimera yako chiwana uli. Kakuna lalo uli. Embino mwiha mwatimane hi. Dokuchi wanduna mbano waruko kulanda ehiro muno ndu waruko kulanda ko mundu. Nono home kupoka na kuketamba. Omangeteka chikwa chike mwanande hiro Wando ichi ngawe tupehi. Ngawe tupo Tjiramanga waisi ngawe mama Tjiramanga mu wahitando. Wahita mo Tjiramanga tuliuliri. Bakambule halihe, mundu akambe halihe. Olo mundu umwe. Wandu beni beri ulika wena puekala. Wandu ichi ngawe puo ngawe tupehire tubetuze pawe tunyanyaura abeze po mama no bana shebetu abe kutoandu komitio unacha wiso apeha uto mwapehi. Mulumenda hakuhita mo maiho mkandu ngando maiho mkandu yanda abe koka pamwe no mkandu. Beni mabeto nwako bongwinya. Ngawe tupehire tu. Opo.
Wow. He said the last word she can give to everyone is she is not against the Germans. The only thing she wants is to get her land back. The Germans have taken everything, even the area she grown up. When her children want to play, they want to play, they have to go to Dickman. When you want to do anything, the Germans, they have a huge big farms. They have to give a portion to them. They have to give their land. They lose their parents. They lose their men. And sometimes a man, in those days, kids were killed and the men have to suck from his wife's breast to survive. But all of them, they died, and they know the Germans what they did. Now, how can it happen that if you want your land, you have to buy a portion for a huge amount of money? If you want to go somewhere, you have to pay. They have to give the land back to them. What belongs to them, they want that land back. They want to have a grazing. They want to have a proper life like every human being. They don't want to stay in a place where they don't know what tomorrow they are going to eat, what their cattle, how they are going to survive. So give them the land back.
Ameshimbe kulero china chimwe no mwiha mu mutima. Mena kusha odo farama nanga yimbe kusanekere odo farama. Anga mathereta tu. Ovapa o vandoishi verike hiro vandoishi konjemene kuvaruka pote odo farama ndo verandisira muvipuka ko valiange mukalo ovadhorondu mbeshevera po vapo vakwambu vakuta kucha vive vesheverere odo farama dao muveni korovimali vanga nduku ndinondi odo farama o mathereta tupo mathereta no mekula ere kucha vi muno vandu mbaluka konjemeni mpaka uto odo ngandala odalwe konjemeni ko mahiao potia muno vandu mbeshevera ovipuka no lumwe no dondi amanda nderi mehimo faramanjo urandithira konjemeni ngo muno mundu eye kakaramo opoe Herero vipuka ovipuka vya Namibia no mbi uhenda kukevi munanga konjemeni mbiheri kombia sivya ingo bandi bya heruka ndi mabiendero kukoka mena kucha kabina mbya ungulirwa ngo bya ungulirwa muno mwe sisiri mwiha mu mutima no matha amira aranje thene na memuno kushavi nga ovimaliva po vinambi mavitulu mwe mbiko njithiwa konango po vikena mbiko njithiwa kuchavi mavitu kohovi ombindi yetu yo yako kayamanuka kabina kana ikakohwalu kwa uli potheo kushanga vetu pe kushaviru mu vanashe vetu mbo mavya mu ruveze rwetu vekale mu uyala chino vanashe vao shivekara mu uyala veri kodhombae okuvatula muno fara mbombayo vipo kalumo yodo nduno ndo kudo vandu koma uyo penjo kie kutala okufuto vimaliva omudhoro nduke nashina shemuna mona ngalire shima ungula ponambo noho ongushevero shirongo oyimaliva mbi mathutwa omayovie valipo eyo vino mathereta no eyeme kutola omangete angaliro mathereyane okupitisa mmehindi okufara konjemeni ame muno kushaulirisi shire odofara madeta henda ndali odo Herero ndanderi ndo vadhoro ndunda ngade kotolwe kweteuli ngade kotolwe tunyotoloke tuliro bandu no tuthubane etene tutatu bali tuli muno mu Namibia tutatu bali no ovinaka tuvimunu ovinalumwe vienda ko bakwetu munu kushavi nangalire wakwetu mbombe hupa ovinambyo kuvienda eteuli oba Herero uli shineno baherere tetu tokukoko mwinyo kumukulishishiri hime kulaerere mbauli angalire komunda we hinda kutuka eteno kunda tulimo mohulire mena kushavi katuna farama jitumuna tulairwa kuchanga tushango dhompapira tupewe mahandulithiro ngachimweke emuna patulisi wangalire ngo muvapa ulire walo mundu eisho ngulimbo papa tulisi omuhoko walwe lumwe nguhena walwira mihiro muukoto noho lumwe ngulipenje no mukoko mutherandu ohona wawe kukala muno mushishiro baherere tetu ihamo mutima tubangehire tungatupewe hiuli ngatupewe dho farama angae odhofara mengete ulinga tupewe tuli hanene ulili kanduko vanacho wetu mochirongo chetu mufatula kamuna hiyanga ichi wakwato mochedio ndi kama tulamena kucha mona muhemu omwatulwa mwaenene okucha mwachiwe mutula pamwe waliyo chimuhala wakupuke nakona kumai ochimuhala pomuliro umwe mena kucha hilo elilimbo popedho kenda po ndarata yo kenda po kuchithaiye nambo yake hata odho kilo hambo mbali okuita mehira ke hata mundo ishi ulimbo nuchime kulanda mbala yo yehodhu ndime anja konda nanje njitho kunyotoloko kenda po yake hata ukali ini eranda ko mirongo hambo mbali ombala yehodhu njitho kucha oyanje hifero kulanda ilipo yake hata chimbaka tolo mbala njopo mbako ndehodhu mene onjira rohoro mende okucha mbitho kuetwa ko veta mbako ndehodhu mu chirongo chomundu pothia kucha amecho kucha hindolanje mianga kucha chishili tupewo mahitu nyotoloke tupewe tuliungulire tungulo mbala zetu noho ngombe zetu pale tuhaungulo mbala ngombe zetu zihite mu mahiku kulia ulishi na lukulu okwepa.
Wow, okay. Her last word, what she is going to say is that there are many Germans here. The Germans, Namibians, they have a dual citizenship. Some of them, they are living in Germany, but they have farms here. And now their farms, they are changing on having a game farming. Instead, and all of them, they are sitting somewhere in Swakopmund or in town. No one is living here. And the only things, people are coming for hunting and they get the money and all. What we want, special, we are not fighting for us now. For us, it's too late. Our blood is already gone. We want to fight for our children who are coming, for the next generation coming, that they can have a land. Today, she's staying in a village. She has 4 children. And the village is already overcrowded. There is no any place. When a son is married, she have to stay there. So a 5 family in one homestead, you can't survive. And close to them, 7 kilometers from their village, there is a farm, Kiat, a German farm. When they want a grass, they go there and buy $80 per what do you call it? A packet, it's $80, and it's that one calf will never eat finish. It's just it help a little bit. And if they caught you cutting a grass there, they take you in police because you trespasses another private farm, private land. The only things, even if the Germans want to give or whatever they do, please, they have to look that our children can play like every children, can have a property like everyone. What we want, we Hereros, we have been, today we hear the government is offering resettlement. The resettlement, the area where you know it's your family, you see it's not your family's resettled. You hear someone who never been there is resettled in that farm. So we don't understand. For us, we are tired with the government. We can't wait for the government. They have another politics what they are playing. We want our children to have a proper life, and even whatever the Germans doing, it's if they give that farms back to the Hereros. All this Herero land, all the names where you hear Herero names, all the farms belongs. It was a grazing area for the Hereros. We want to go there. Then everyone can have a portion. And if it happened that the Germans give money and they bought farms, we'll be happy that everyone is going to be resettled, having a little portion, not having like all these farms like the Dickman 10 farms. Nobody wants 10 farms. He wants a grazing for his cattle. Thank you.
Mesha ukucha obandu mbahindwa mukuru. Kushabe kuhakaina rubandu shibamba panjarere nubeshiwe nangaliro kuchanga hino bahungire binambi bimbi heri mungira nu obinambi mbadu bambo banene banje mebesa ondangi sinene kusha ngahino olusewa mabeka muna mobinambi bandu shibawudi kabe siwa china noho kabe banga kuchwa mibaka kuchwa obinambi nangalire muno banashe mbibera kushali beni bina intwa kwata nai obandu bengi uriri muno mukabena kuchwa muhoko wao nangarire kusha wamingu nchimesha wamuhoko emba kota naina kabeshu okushamesha ndangi ngahino shimabe zuobi nambi mabenda mabepura kusha no muntu ngwahungire mba obinambi wabizubirepi wachiwabi kusha onobeshi.
Okay. Makubi, she's saying, thank you so much. She's so happy. Probably you were sent by God so that you can come hear the life of the people like her. Because she herself wants to know more. She's trying to tell her children, all the people here around, how things were. But then probably this is going to tell the younger generation where they are coming from, what happened to some people to become what they are today. So she's really happy that you happen to come up and get this information, which might be inside information for other people to understand where other people came from.